Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is FARSYA and my student number is 1221112333147. So I'm here to tell you guys about the book that I love, and actually this is the first English book that I have ever read. So the book is YOKO'S Diary. So this is the cover of the book, and the content of the slide is a writer introduction, and the second is synopsis, and the last is the story. Let's get started. So actually, the writer of this book is Yoko herself because it's her diary and edited by Paul Ham. And I want to tell you guys a little bit about Yoko. So she's born in Hiroshima, Japan in June 1932. She died during the atomic bombing of the city by the US in August 6, 1946. About the editor, born in Sydney, Australia at 1960, Polham is a historian specializing in 20th-century conflicts, war, and politics. Born and raised in Sydney, Paul has spent his working life in London, Sydney, and Paris. He teaches narrative nonfiction at Science School in Greece and English at I think it's École de Cours in Paris. The synopsis: She was just like any other 12-year-old child who got up every morning and went to school. She loved her mom and dad, she laughed at some of her teachers, she worked hard, she enjoyed school and her friends and holidays. When the war came, Yuko's life was changed completely. Slowly the town began to lose their young men, as brothers and fathers left to fight in the Pacific. In 1944, Yoko's father was called out. Yoko's diary represents one Japanese girl's impressions of the world around her. At the time when the world about to end, this English translation of Yoko's diary brings to a wider world the story of a young Japanese girl living in Hiroshima during the last months of the Pacific War. When the war came, Yoko's life changed completely. Slowly the towns began to lose their young men, as brothers and fathers left to fight in the Pacific. In 1944, Yoko's father was called out, as Japan began to lose the war would start running out, and by 1945, even rice, the Japanese staple diet, grew scarce. She and her family ate sweet potatoes and berries and anything they could find in the forest. Towards the end of the war, Yoko worked as a student laborer at one of demolition sites. She was one of about 7,500 student workers in Hiroshima aged between 12 and 18. One of her jobs was to clear the debris from demolished homes, to create fire breaks, and thus prevent fires from spreading after a bombing attack. By mid-1945, most big Japanese cities had been heavily bombed and reduced to ashes. The people of Hiroshima were warned to expect the same, but as late as July 1945, Hiroshima and four other Japanese cities remained utterly untouched. In fact, the American forces had set them aside as targets for the atomic bomb. On the night of 5 August, Yoko prepared for another day as a mobilized student worker, and she wrote, "From tomorrow morning we are joining the home demolition group. I am going to do my best." The next morning she got up early, traveled to the city, reached the demolition site, took off her dress and put on her monty. At 8:15 am, a plane flew overhead. A large object fell out. It was the first atomic bomb ever to be dropped on human life. Suddenly there was a quick flash, and the temperature shot up to many times that of the surface of the sun. Then a tremendous shock wave convulsed the city, and blew apart most of the buildings. Anyone standing within a 2-kilometer radius of the blast was horribly burned or stuck by flying debris. Yoko stood 700 meters away, in the open air and dreadfully burned, but astonishingly, she survived the immediate blow. She began crawling on her hands and knees to a place of safety, An army truck picked her up and drove her out of the city center. A volunteer housewife found her near lifeless body in a village school that was doubling as a relief center near Hiroshima, and tried to ease her agony. That evening, at an evacuation center located 10 kilometers away, in the suburbs of Hiroshima, she passed away. Yoko's story is one of many thousands, nearly all of students in her year at school, as their 5 teachers died instantly in the atomic blast. They were among more than 6,300 children who perished immediately. Others died of lingering wounds or radiation sickness. What Yoko's diary taught is that 12 and 13-year-old schoolgirls had no idea that Japan's war defeat was imminent, or that the remaining days of their own lives were numbered, right until they ferry and they believe in their country. And above all, the diary tells us how cheerfully and valiantly they lived the days of their tragically short adolescence. So that's all about the story of the Yoko's diary. And actually, the book is only contain about Yoko's life. It's all about her school. She told us about what she do after the school and what she do in school. Thank you guys for watching and listening to my story. Sorry about the mistake. There's a lot of mistake that I say. Thank you guys. See you next video.